Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the CEO of a very successful wealth management company. He's going to teach us all we need to know to save and one day retire to lead a more fulfilling life. His journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I have seen countless surveys, and it really doesn't matter how old you are. These surveys are saying that Americans don't think they're ever going to be able to retire. And isn't that a shame? You work your whole life in order to save and have a comfortable retirement, and many people are now forced to be working into their 70s and 80s because they just can't afford to retire. To talk about that today, Mike Cruz, he's the CEO of North Texas Wealth Management. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to that statement I made. They're baby boomers who really, unfortunately, they look at their finances and they say, no, I cannot retire at 65. I may not be able to retire at 75.
Sure, yeah. Unfortunately, we do see that. And, I think it's a combination between a lack of financial education, growing up in the school systems. A lot of times, we just don't learn the personal finance skills. And where we learn our finances is really at home. If you don't learn it from your parents, then it's kind of passed on to your kids, and maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, financial literacy. And so, we need to do more there. And really, our firm, we specialize in helping people, retire, get to retirement, make a plan. And, the sooner you look at it, the sooner you start working towards it, the more likely you're going to be successful. And that's really a passion of ours. We've worked on that with countless retirees over the years. We've been doing it since 1968. So I've been with the firm for 20 years, and time and time again, we just find that the sooner you look at it, the sooner you make a plan, the more likely you are to get to retirement successfully and make it through retirement without running out of money.
And you and I were talking before the show, a lot of financial firms will target the 1%, and I'm sure you wouldn't turn away that money, but you guys have a different strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think every wealth advisor you talk to them, they say, yeah, well, I work with high net worth. I want to work with ultra high net worth. And we have focused on helping the folks that are salaried employees as a Fortune 500 companies. So right here in Dallas, Fort Worth, we've been out and presented seminars to their employees. Over 50 different companies. So TI and Raytheon, working with employees from Toyota, AT&T, Dr. Pepper, been out all over the Metroplex to educate the workforce and what it takes to retire successfully. And these companies provide great benefits, but what we've consistently found is that they don't understand fully, how to maximize those benefits. The companies that offer pension plans, for example, those can be complex, and there's definitely optimal times to retire. I've found that because interest rates and how they calculate the pension benefits, change, some companies change it annually, and working one more day can cost somebody $90,000 by working just one extra day.
Wow.
And so if they're not aware of that, they might make a mistake. And so what we help our clients do, look at it from the employee perspective, maximize their benefits, plan it out. How are they going to maximize what they receive from their pension? What's the timing? What's the strategy? And really put that in
Absolutely.
Execute it.
And you have a great team. Every CEO is only good as their team. And look at all those pretty faces. You all look like you should be on the cover of a glamour magazine. Let me give you a chance to brag about your team.
Thanks. Well, no, absolutely. And, that is something really unique about North Texas Wealth Management. We never look at it as like, this is my client. And another advisor might say, hey, this is my clients. These are our clients. So when they come in the door, it's all about how can we help our clients be successful for the long term, and that team approach. I mean, I would definitely rather have, multiple minds working on my retirement plan, and we find that that's really the best strategy. And so we sit down together. We have an investment committee. Everybody, is giving their best and working together for the benefit of the client. It's a really unique kind of a raw moment, and that's one of our competitive advantages is our teamwork.
Sure.
We have a phenomenal team. They work hard every day. I'm really just fortunate to get to lead that team.
Well, one of the things I admire about you is you have the heart of a teacher. You like to educate your clients and the public at large. You launched a podcast/television show on our network, The Values Exchange. Tell us about The Value Exchange.
Yeah, the Value Exchange podcast, I really started it with, just kind of a passion about like values in general. So, when I look at it, and I felt like what was missing out there is people talking about just like integrity and just, like what I would call core values. And I didn't really know where that would lead, but I've had a lot of fun doing it. And I've had some great guests, talking about like embracing challenge to how do you embrace fear. Was my more recent one with a Navy SEAL, and had great stories to share. And then, interviewing, an F-35 first female, test pilot for Lockheed Martin, just great stories, but then talking about the value of like perseverance and what it takes to kind of push through. And I think, that kind of relates to everyone. We can all, kind of get that, positive impact in our lives, and that positivity of, one more day, maybe I can have today be better than the next. Yeah.
Sure, and I urge all my viewers to subscribe to The Values Exchange. We found a little clip from one of your shows. Let's go ahead and roll it.
All right. Welcome to the Values Exchange podcast. I'm Mike Cruz, your host, private pilot, author of Saturday Every Day, and CEO of North Texas Wealth Management, a firm dedicated to values-based financial planning. This podcast uncovers the values and habits of highly successful people and dives into how it has shaped their success and what you can learn from their personal stories. Hi, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Values Exchange podcast. I am super excited about our guest today. Manessa Baltzheiser is with us. First F-35 female pilot for Lockheed Martin, test pilot. F-16 from Philippines. She's here with us. And, want to tell you all about her journey and talk about the value of perseverance. So, Manessa, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Mike. It's great to be here.
All right. So, you're setting kind of records left and right for, first female. And I know that's to be flying the F-35, but I want to understand the journey. So where'd you grow up? How'd you get into this? When did you decide to be a pilot? How did all that start?
It's actually really interesting. I was born in Mesquite, Texas.
Okay.
My parents both immigrated from the Philippines in the 1970s. So born and raised Mesquite until about 18. And pretty much in high school is when I was like, okay, I want to go be an astronaut. How do I go do this? Went to the high school counselor, asked her how to do it. She did the research and she said, you got to go to a service academy. You got to go be a fighter pilot, and then NASA will take you.
Wow, I'm so impressed. I mean, not only are you a great interviewer, you're a great guest. And how do you choose the guests for your show?
It's been interesting. I think it's just been kind of a domino effect that, I have, one show and they introduce me to someone else, a few clients, and, I have kind of a list of people that are just kind of fascinating, and I'm looking forward to kind of some upcoming episodes of really fascinating people.
Absolutely. And I again urge people to follow them on all their social media platforms, because they will give away these great nuggets. Here's a clip from your director of finance.
In our previous video, we discussed the question of, are you ready to buy a home? And I mentioned a couple of important points in determining your monthly payment that you could afford, right? So I mentioned the 28% rule, the 36% rule. Go check out that video if that does not ring a bell. Now, I want to kind of double click on that idea. In this video especially, I want to cover what actually goes into the cost of acquiring a home, both from a monthly payment standpoint and from an initial purchase standpoint to determine how much home can you afford. So here's the thing, if you have only ever rented, there are probably some terms and terminology associated with a monthly mortgage payment that are going to be new to you. So let's cover those now. So first and foremost, when you're paying your monthly mortgage payment, there's going to be the cost of the loan, right? And so common components of that are your principal payment, your interest payment, right? So that's the two components of your monthly costs that are fixed over the life of the loan. But that's not all in there. If you're below a certain amount of equity in that home, you're also going to have what's called an escrow account. Okay, so this is kind of a separate account, typically administered by your lender, into which on a monthly basis, you also pay a portion of your homeowner's taxes and your homeowner's insurance. So you make sure your real estate taxes are covered and your homeowner's insurance premium is covered on a monthly basis. And then your lender then would distribute from your escrow account to make those payments on an annual basis. So you got principal, interest, taxes, insurance, but that's not all, right? So if you're below typically the 20% mark in equity in your home, you're also going to have what's called private mortgage insurance. So this is actually another form of insurance associated with your payment that ensures if you default on the loan, it makes sure the lender is kept whole. So you've got all these categories: principal, interest, taxes, insurance. You've got PMI possibly, and you may have an HOA. You may have a homeowners association, a separate payment as part of the neighborhood you live in. Now, here's the good news. Anymore online, you can go and find a number of calculators that will help you estimate what all of these categories would total up to each month. And that's the figure that you would take for any particular property you're considering purchasing. You'd take that figure and test it against the 28% and the 36% rules.
I love it that you give away the gold. I mean, a lot of websites will say, hey, come see us and we'll give you advice, but you're giving away free advice. Why do you do it?
Yeah, so Seth, our director of financial planning, has an educational background, and what we talked about is really education in the finance arena is really missing. Unless you're studying like I did to become a financial planner, you don't take a lot of personal finance classes. And so our clients were asking, what about my kids? What about my grandkids? Where can they go learn? What can they read? Sure. And so I ended up writing a book called Saturday Every Day to help educate. And then Seth stepped up and said, I'll make educational videos and we'll create a channel and we can share that out and just kind of help people elevate their financial literacy.
I think it's so brilliant. You were telling me right before the show about one of your favorite clients.
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny story. I had a client that was probably the most skeptic of financial advisors, as many people are. You don't know who you can trust. And so, they came in kind of reluctantly, sat down with me, and she goes, look, my checkbook's not at the car. I left it at home. Like, I am not investing, but I thought I'd come hear what you have to say, right? And ended up becoming kind of a raving fan of a client, joined our client advisory board that we have. But looking back, what it was is that, slowly I had to build trust. And I was able to research, I asked her, where she used to work and, well, where'd you work prior to that? And we started talking, and it was 20 years prior that she actually had a company pension plan. And I had worked with, other people from those companies. And I said, I think you have a pension plan. And she corrected me very quickly. No, I don't. And I said, well, if you don't mind, let me research it for you and I'll come back to you. And time again, this has happened where a company you used to work at a long time ago, I actually helped her find a pension that paid her income for the rest of her life. And, that was kind of a way that I could, wow, prove that, hey, we're here to help you.
Outstanding. In the final 2 minutes, talk to the viewer about why they might want to
Sure.
make an appointment with you.
Yeah, so I think we've created something really unique at North Texas Wealth Management. I talked about how we work as a team. That's one of our competitive advantages, but also the processes that we've created for our clients. And so what it looks like is in that initial meeting when you come in, we call it our 3D assessment. It goes through in depth, not starting with just your financial goals. Of course, we cover that, but we start with really your life goals. So instead of, saying, I want to retire at 65, I want to save $2 million, help me along that path where most financial advisors start. As a financial planner, we start with, what do you want out of life? Why is this so important to you? What are you going to do in retirement? And when looking back at your life, what is the most fulfilling and how can we help you get more of that? And so kind of a life planning component in the beginning is where we start. And then we go into the financial goals and then a financial planning, which we create a real-time, online, you can access it. It's a real-time financial plan, kind of like a GPS system where it auto-corrects for, your navigation as you make it through retirement. And we can do all kinds of optimization and use technology to streamline that. And then, that way you always know, am I on track for retirement? Or like during COVID, it's one of those things, if your investments are going down because the market's going down, you can look at it and say, am I still okay? Am I going to run out of money? Do I need to do something different? So it was a way that we could help our clients, see the bigger picture in real time. So financial planning is a huge component. And then of course the investments. Investments, like anything, I say it's like, a gourmet kitchen. You got to start with great ingredients. You have to have the right recipe, and then the chef matters, right? And so making sure you have a disciplined approach. Why are you making changes? When to make changes? And, even financial advisors fall subject to human nature and biases. And so if they don't have a process, they're no better than the client investing. And so how do we overcome those biases is really making sure we have data-driven changes. Yep. And that's the model that's worked for our clients for years. Again, we've been doing it since 1968, long before me, but we have a proven process that helps people navigate the ups and downs and emotional component of investing.
Outstanding. This has been a fast-paced segment. I appreciate you so much. We're going to end with the website, which is ntxwealth.com. The great Mike Cruz. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.